when I have made more serious videos on my channel, they have all been relatively still quite palatable, and when I am going to tell you that this video is not as palatable and is to be taken more seriously, I also give you the right to watch this with your own discretion. The topics that I'm going to be talking about are incredibly triggering to a lot of autistic and disabled people, and this is an incredibly hard topic for me to be speaking on in the first place. However, as someone who talks about autistic issues on this channel, this is a video that I feel like I need to be making. A lot of what I have to say, I wrote out because I know that I would not be able to keep the proper train of thought if I did not script out this video to some extent. Today we are going to be talking about ABA therapy, which stands for Applied Behavior Analysis Therapy. ABA therapy is a doctor's first recommendation after a childhood diagnosis of autism and parents take it. They want to get rid of the negative behaviors their child exhibits, which occur because their needs aren't being met. They want to stop the meltdowns that happen because they are forced into situations that are painful and uncomfortable. They want to release the guilt they feel as if they are at fault for bringing an autistic person into this world, and feel sorry for their child to the point where they must erase who they are. They want to have a child they wanted, not the autistic child they knew. They want to see them make eye contact. They want to hear them verbally speak. They want to see them play with toys and play with other children in ways they didn't accept before a normal child to do. They want to see their child be the child they envisioned to be, so they strip away the identity they hold as an autistic person and attempt to replace it with that of a normal child the best that they can. Never do they listen to the child when they are crying or screaming. They never want to understand why this is occurring. They listen to themselves because they believe they are the ones who struggle the most. They listen to doctors who wish to make a profit off of what they believe is a broken child. They listen to autistic organizations who will not let a single autistic person alone. They listen to everyone except for the autistic child in their homes or the adults who grew up and are telling you that what you are doing is wrong. They will not accept what you have to say because we do not know your child, because we do not know what you deal with every day living with an autistic child. But one day your autistic child is going to grow up and become one of us. They're going to realize that the only world they have ever known is one whose goal has always been to fix them, to strip them of their identity, to cover up their disability, to make them someone that they are not, to teach them that they cannot be happy or functional or useful to society without changing themselves to accommodate the world and the people around them. 46% of autistic adults who went through ABA therapy have been diagnosed with PTSD, and of those 46%, nearly half experience what is considered to be an extreme severity of PTSD. The goal of ABA is to force your child to become someone they are not for a doctor's profit. There are alternative therapies to ABA. These can include occupational therapies, RBI therapy, and school special education programs. And anyone operating under an ABA license aligns themselves with the origins, audio, and other effects of this therapy and clinical use. I cannot listen to you tell me that this is not always the case, because the cases that are, those are the ones that matter, and the ones that deserve to be heard. The success story of your child conforming to societal standards of functionality or being unscathed by abuse and culture is not what needs to be heard, because it is the minority. More importantly, you do not witness this therapy through the lens of an autistic mind. You might not even witness it at all. You might simply drop off your child and pick them up, and the only thing that you notice is that they are behaving in the way that you want them to each time you do. You do not get to decide what is abusive and what is not. You do not get to decide what upsets autistic people and makes us feel our human rights are violated. You do not get to speak for your child and say they are happier because you do not know the full extent of what they are experiencing. Every day, parents of autistic children slander and demean autistic adults across all social media platforms because they tell them what they do not want to hear. If you do not know live in ignorance and protect your child from potential or present abuse, you are the problem, and you do not deserve the ability to parent your child. There are too many autistic people going through abuse, torture, and die as a direct result of ABA therapy for you to continue supporting it because your privileged individual experience was good. Currently, the federal government is still allowing disabled children and adults to undergo 24 hours of exception to shock therapy in the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center in Massachusetts. This has been occurring for over 50 years and is happening as you are watching this video right now. Therapists should not continue to practice under ABA licenses or under the principles of ABA just because it isn't how it used to be. In some cases, they they choose to willingly enter a medical practice with a history of abusive and torturous methods. If you wish to believe that ABA therapy has changed and is no longer abusive or harmful, you choose to willingly live in ignorance, because you cannot handle the reality of your autistic adults who are every single day just to be seen as human beings with physical human rights. The man behind your child's ABA is the boss. The man who has said autistic children are severely disturbed. People seem to be no more than objects, and they show no signs of love towards others. Then, you start pretty much from scratch when you work with an autistic child. You have a person in the physical sense, they have bigger feelings than that. They are not people in the psychological sense. One way to look at the job of helping autistic kids is to see it as a matter of constructing a person. Raw materials that you have to build a person. In the 1965 publication of Life magazine, under the article Screams, Slaps, and Love, which covered ABA therapy, Law stated that he believes the whole present concept of mental illness is flawed because it believes the patient responds to his actions. Law feels that, one, making any mentally ill child accountable for his behavior, and two, forcing him to act normal, he can push the child towards normality. Even putting aside the ignorant vernacular of this time period, it is still clearly stated that the mission and the intent of ABA therapy has always been to force disabled children to become normal and thus become tolerable to a deeply flawed society. This article goes on to describe the methods of shock therapy of an initial UCLA clinical trial that Ross implemented as the first ABA therapy. The most drastic innovation in Ross's technique is punishment, instantly immutably dished out to break down the habits of his madness. Like many autistic children, Pamela simply did not have enough anxiety to be frightened. To give her something to be anxious about, she was taken to the shock room where the floor is laced with metallic strips. 2 electrodes were put on her bare back and her shoes were removed. LaVoss sent a mild current through the floor into her bare feet. It was harmless but uncomfortable. With instinctive cunning, Pamela sought to mollify LaVoss with hugs. The phrasing in this article is literal propaganda. It is trying to convince the reader that literally shocking a child's bare skin is weirdly uncomfortable, so therefore it is okay to do so. This method of shock torture has evolved and is still occurring at the Judge Rodenberg Center, which I will talk about later in this video. The article also states, of the 4 children that were involved in this first trial, these 4 were picked because they are avid eaters to whom food is very important. In the first month, they got no regular meals. Spoonfuls of food were doled out by answers. The mind that deemed it okay to abuse and torture children is the mind behind creating a therapy to create a normal person out of what he viewed as a subhuman child. If he was still alive today, he would look your autistic child in the eyes and describe them the exact same way. In 1987, there was a study film released on the same children that this Life magazine published in 1965 describes. The video states that almost all attempts to teach and treat them have failed. More than 95% of them need custodial care for the rest of their lives, a great loss to themselves, their families, and to society. In one particular child's treatment, the video shows LaVoss causing the child to become distraught by firmly grasping her arms and forcing her to look at him. He commands her to sit, and when this command is obeyed, she is praised with the phrase, "good girl." This speech from LaVoss is linguistically identical to training a dog and is a strong indication of how he sees these children as animals. The narrator states that the idea behind this positive reinforcement exercise is that the child's tantrums are simply ignored. She is screaming and crying throughout this exercise, but it is clear that LaVoss is simply happy that she is still obeying the commands through her own pain. Through ignoring the child's pain, he consequently teaches that child to ignore their own pain so that they are not punished or withheld rewards, which are often affection or food, basic necessities to human life in a violation of that child's personal rights. These children are taught that they only deserve love and to feel proud of themselves when they ignore their own needs and human responses to their environment, which are not suited to fit the needs of an autistic child. A child realizes that they will be punished if they have a meltdown or don't follow the instructions during ABA therapy. They stop having meltdowns and start obeying because the only other choice is even more painful for them. If you put the child in ABA therapy, there is no way out for them. They have a choice to do something right the first time or be punished into doing it right the second. Later in the video, it is explained that without constant therapy, the children regress into their former behaviors. This validates that the changes seen as a result of ABA therapy are not lasting changes to an autistic person, but rather temporary ones to evade punishment during these therapy sessions. I'm going to briefly expand on what is happening at the JRC, the Judge Rodenberg Center. In an interview recently conducted by NBC staff Cynthia McFadden, we see staff of the Judge Rodenberg Center defend shock therapy. The parents of children who reside in the facility defend the shock culture, stating that it is good for their child. Disturbing imagery from the facility surveillance cameras in the center show people being tied down and restrained while being shocked repeatedly. This is partially included in the NBC video. However, Fox News did a more extended video of this incident of torture many years prior to that NBC interview. Please watch this video at your own discretion. In the video, an autistic child is restrained face down for 7 hours and shocked a total of 31 times, initially for not removing his coat when staff instructed him to do so. He continued being shocked each time he reacted to being shocked by tensing up his suit. The last thing that I'm going to share is one testimony of autism. Some recommended up to 40 hours a week of this therapy, which consists of commands an autistic child must follow to exhaustion, responses an autistic child must give correctly, even if the answers don't match the child's feelings or preferences, and the repression of movements that autistic use to regulate their own bodies. Besides these restraining experts insist that parents use the same tactics at home, so parents pay a lot of money to do autistics to experience growth in the world the autistic way they pay for abuse. Parents are made to feel guilty and encouraged to force their children into roles that were not made for them. Autistic children are not allowed to be themselves, being forced instead to learn how to pretend, never learning self-determination, never allowed to have an independent thought. Not surprisingly, the majority of ABA proponents are making a lot of money by stealing the childhood of autistic children. 40 hours a week of drills, plus homework, the children don't experience their own personal development. This is considered abuse if done to non-autistics. And then we have to hear that we cost too much money. Take them out of our lives. Let autistic children be children. Let autistics develop in our own time, learning about ourselves, learning self-determination. They can hear the apologists. My ABA is not like that. If you know ABA presence, if you want to change how an autistic acts, reacts, or interacts with the world, and your ideal model is a neurotypical kind of behavior, your ABA is as bad as I described it. My child loves it. How would you know if she is not allowed to have her own thoughts? The word no or refusal to comply with a therapist's commands are not allowed. Another reason is that children do learn to fake in order to please. That is, after all, what ABA defines as success. Obedient pleasers. It is not enjoyment, pleasant, or something to look forward to. Yes, some children might show enjoyment in some moments, but I did too. When I got my cookie for looking at the therapist, I wanted that cookie. I briefly looked at him and got my wish. You could say that at that moment I loved him. It's not as bad as you think. Yes, it is. Putting children through unending hours of training, not allowing them to be who they are, forcing an experience of the world we autistics can never naturally have, and stating how not good enough we are to everyone else is pretty bad. It is abusive and it's disrespectful. Autistic children need to learn certain skills. All children do. Respectful approaches don't cause trauma and value our essence. It does not imply that we are broken. All children make mistakes and they have a chance to learn. They are kindly guided and taught. But to ABA proponents, autistic children and autistic adults are not allowed to err, and they are forever labeled a failure or abused until they get it right. The parents of autistic children who have put their children through ABA therapy cannot be excused for their good intentions. Because if you truly had good intentions for your child, you would heavily research the origins of what ABA therapy is and what it exactly aims to do to your child. If your strong desire is to have a child who doesn't appear autistic and can function as a neurotypical person would in this world, you do not deserve to parent that child. I and any other autistic person have never lived in a world where being autistic is something that is okay. We live in a world where the word disabled is a bad word, and the word autistic is a bad thing. We are taught that being ourselves and being autistic is not okay. that it is weird, that it is wrong, and that we will never sum up to be a complete human being without your intervention. I cannot count the number of times that I have read on forums or autistic parents that they love ABA therapy because their child is so much more manageable now. You can parade your autism mom title around all you want, but you have never accepted autistic people for who we are, and you probably never will. You are forcing your child into therapy, likely for things that do not need to change. Unless a child is being a harm to themselves or to other people's, you do not need to change their behavior. And if they are being a harm to themselves or others, ABA therapy is not your only option. You are voluntarily enrolling your child and paying for something that will instill in them not skills that they need to learn to be successful individuals, but instead instill in them the feeling that they will never be good enough unless they change themselves for you and for our society. I'll be providing all of the links to all of the things that I've talked about in the description.